Hi, I'm Jake Deffinbaugh, and welcome to Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show, a podcast where me and our friends talk about nostalgic moments and pop culture from our childhoods. We interview people such as actors, producers, composers, puppeteers, and more. We'll be sharing our favorite memories, talk about behind-the-scenes moments, and so much more. I'm your host, Jake Deffinbaugh, and welcome to this Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show episode. Hey everyone, welcome to the 36th episode of Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show, where nostalgia comes to life. I'm your host, Jake Deffinbaugh, and as always, our co-hosts, we have today Chris Bixby, Matt Bingel, his pal Julius, Wyatt McCullough, and Matthew Johnston. How are you guys?
We are great.
Amazing.
Hello.
Great.
Very awesome to hear.
Awesome.
Hello.
And Jake, who do we have today?
Well, today we have a musical director for the last videos of Barney and the Backyard Gang, as well as he did as well for the first 3 seasons of Barney and Friends, which of course we're going to talk about that. And
So much stuff.
And his name is Bob Singleton. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
welcome.
You're welcome.
Definitely, we're very excited. So, before we ask before we kind of ask our interview-ish questions, I guess to start this off, we know who you are, but for the people watching and listening who don't know who you are, tell a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Okay.
Mhm.
I'm Bob Singleton. I'm a composer and producer. I was classically trained as a composer at University of North Texas, got into writing jingles and music per curriculum and that sort of thing, and got known around the Dallas area where I was working, and there was a lot of work going on. I got known as a guy who did a lot of stuff for kids, and I loved it. So I got when it came time for the Barney thing to take off, I got involved with Barney. I worked on the first 3 shows as contractor. In other words, there was somebody else that was a music director, Stephen Bates, but he was working with live musicians. So I hired all the musicians. We used my kids' chorus, and I just kind of helped out wherever they needed help. And after the first 3 shows, then I moved over to full-time music director. So all the Backyard Gang stuff, after the first 3 episodes, I was the music director on that. And then when we moved into PBS, I did the first 3 seasons. And after the first 3 seasons, I continued writing and producing the trailers and the home video music. And so all in all, I started working on Barney about 1989 and through 1999. So it was about 10 years.
Wow.
While that was going on, I was also still writing for commercials, doing stuff for American Airlines, U.S. Air Force, a lot of curriculum publishers, doing that kind of stuff. And just, it was a lot of work, and we were having a lot of fun. Did a lot of work in Christian children's stuff.
Wow.
I got, with the Barney stuff, I got a Grammy nomination, a couple of multi-platinum albums. And then on the Christian side, I got 4 Dove nominations, and it was one of the biggest selling children's producers ever.
Yeah.
And then after 2000, I started my own kids boutique Christian label that's sold only on the internet directly to churches. I've been doing that for a long time. Wow. But it seems like every 10 years I kind of change careers. Now I'm writing stuff for symphony orchestras.
Oh, wow.
Because I always wanted to do that, you know.
That's big.
It's great working with the people and the players, and it's much different than working in the studio. So last month, I've got 9 different symphonies that are performing a concert that I wrote for families this season. And another symphony has contacted me about writing something for them for next season. And during all that, I moved, which is really disruptive. So now I'm pretty much set. Let's see if you can see.
Yeah.
Oh wow,
studio.
Oh,
kind of,
wow.
That is cool.
that is really cool.
That's
I
great.
can't do too much, but it's
That's
Right.
awesome.
just it's a composing room. And let's see if you can see this. I'm out.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Wow.
Ooh.
I'm out in a forest, and it's
Yeah.
quiet, and so
Wow.
I'm just writing and talking to symphonies now, and still running my kids' record label, and
There
taking
you
a
go.
real job. So that's where I am.
Nice.
That's what I've done.
That's
Nice.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's
awesome.
great.
It's crazy
very
to think that
awesome.
Barney's still going to this day. It's just started way back then.
Yeah.
It is. It really is.
Yeah.
I mean, we had no idea.
Yeah, you didn't have no idea, and it's still huge.
We thought, everybody on the crew, there was
Yeah.
a lot of television production going on around in the area.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of, you do one or two videos for somebody, and then you'd move on to the next project. And the Barney stuff just kept coming. And then, then it landed on PBS.
Yeah.
And we went, wow, this is great. And then we got canceled. At
Yeah.
Right, oh, yeah.
And so we
Yep.
we had a wrap party, and everybody had punch and cookies, and slapped everybody on the back and said, that's great. And we all tried to move on to the next thing. And we found out a few months later that it was going to be coming back. So
Yeah.
it was a real surprise to us.
Yeah.
Nobody expected it to be something with this kind of legs, but something that big, you only figure it out looking back.
Mm-hmm.
You never look forward and go, oh, well, this is going to be the biggest thing ever. And it's going to, that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Right.
You never really know what's happening until it happens.
Yeah.
Well,
Sure.
until just after it happens, because it happens. And then you look back and you would go,
Yeah.
well, that was kind of cool, wasn't it? But at
Yeah.
the time you're just trying to work through it.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It's crazy to think it's still airing in other countries.
Yes.
Yes, it
Yeah.
is. When they told the first thing we saw some Spanish language translations
Yeah.
of the home videos.
Yeah. I know
Those were
about
the
that.
first
Hebrew,
ones.
Korean.
And
Yeah.
the first ones they weren't very good. They were really
No.
translations, their characters and stuff like that, because it was a new product, and it hadn't been on TV or anything.
And then the
So pretty much
co-productions, like the Korean ones and the Hebrew.
Oh, yeah, Korean and
Those
Hebrew.
were pretty good. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
the production company could set some standards for those, but the initial Spanish stuff, they just kind of shipped them the video, and then they shipped back the soundtrack.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
when they arrived, everybody kind of went, huh. Okay. Can we do something better? So, but they were just starting out. Everybody was just feeling their way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Surprising.
Yep.
So we talked. A bit about how you became a music director for Barney, how you started working for Barney, but what got you interested in
Music directing.
Yeah.
Well, I enjoyed writing music. I mean, since I was a kid in school, even in high school, I was writing stuff for the jazz band and garage bands and my friends, and I knew I wanted to compose.
Yeah.
And so I went to a university, second largest music school in the U.S. Went from California to Texas, and just to learn more how to write. And when I finished up my work at the university, I was getting involved in recording, because there was a lot of recording going on.
Wow.
And I was doing the technical side. I was engineering. I was, sliding the faders and putting the microphones in front of people, and it was a blast. I love the technical side. But as projects would go along, I'd go, "Hey, you need any, string parts written for this or something like that?" And so I kind of built that. And then I had a client from St. Louis that had a children's songbook that had like 110 songs on it.
Wow.
And I thought, well, that's kind of, I could do something like that. And so I just got a bunch of kids from my church, and I sequenced some stuff and put it down. And, and my first project had like 110 songs that I had to record.
Wow.
And I enjoyed working with the kids so much. It was a blast.
I bet.
So I kind of got known for doing kid stuff, but I was still, writing music for jingles for, like I said, major airlines, for, governors' campaigns, and I had a country label that I was writing stuff for, and just a bunch of stuff. But the kids stuff was always the most fun, because I think I'm a little ADD, and I don't settle. I'm not so good on settling in on one particular style for a long time.
Yeah.
And kids were just so much more fun to work with than grown-ups a lot of times.
I bet.
Yes.
Because it's like you want to work for kids, boom, they go crazy and stuff. And then now they're the one reason Barney's still around to this day.
Yeah.
Well, the kids really weren't. The kids were wonderful because they were really motivated to do things right. Yeah. And adults a lot of times are motivated just to make themselves look good. Yeah. I mean, I'm not all grown-ups are that way, but the kids were just painfully honest. It was really great, because an adult might go, "Oh, Bob, that's great. I love you. You're beautiful. I love you." But a kid will tell you, "I didn't like that." And that honesty is much better. I mean, if you know exactly how people actually feel about it, you can improve things. You can do it better. So I love working with kids. I had an agent in Hollywood. I was, I was supposed to be the music director on Muppets in Space.
Oh, wow.
There was Disney bought him.
Wow.
But the music business is crazy. I mean, and you have to have a fairly thick skin. Yeah. A sure thing in the music business means you have maybe a 1 in 10 chance of it actually happening. Wow. So that's one thing that made Barney so unusual, was that it just kept happening. It did. But I think it was because it was very honest about how it treated kids. Yeah.
Yes.
It definitely is.
Yeah. So who were some of your inspirations?
Wow. I liked, when I was a kid, one of the things that I listened to the most on the record player in my bedroom was, if you've ever seen Fantasia.
Matt,
yes.
Matt's favorite is
great movie.
Apprentice, that the Sorcerer's Apprentice, where Mickey Mouse is doing the thing with the broom and the buckets and everything like that. Yeah, I remember when I was like 8 or 9 years old, wearing that record out. Wow. But I also loved, my parents loved a lot of kinds of music. So there was this guy named Spike Jones, who just did hilarious stuff. And he had this band, and they'd go and they'd play really fast, and they'd hit cowbells and do, horns and stuff. Yeah. And it was just hilarious stuff. And I loved Spike Jones. And then I got into jazz. And with jazz is like, there's this kind of jazz and that kind of jazz. There's bebop jazz and there's big gang jazz. And so that spread things out even more. And where I grew up in California, there was, playing in clubs around me where people like the Doobie Brothers and Carlos Santana and, all these wonderful, wonderful bands. So I had just this mishmash of musical influence, and I loved them all. And I never got to the point where I went, well, I just like this kind of music. I just figured out what was good about every kind of music. So it all had an influence on me. And, there's songwriters I love. Paul Simon,
Oh, yeah.
and Stevie Wonder.
Oh, yeah.
Oh
and
yes,
there's-
yeah, of course.
There's
They're just so
other
good, you can still hear
writers
'em.
that just are just they take me to another place, and that's what I always try to do with the music is, go beyond the four walls so that when you listen to it, you feel things.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
What's your thoughts that Barney turns 30 this year?
Well, like I
Well,
said,
Barney and Friends,
nobody
yeah.
thought
Yeah, Barney and Friends
Yeah.
turns 30.
care at the time. Nobody thought that it'd last more than the first three videos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's amazing.
Yeah.
It'll never happen again like that.
No.
It was an unusual time.
Exactly.
We had there was the three big networks,
Yeah.
and there was PBS. And at the time there was Nickelodeon.
Yes.
But Nickelodeon was just playing. They were playing cartoons.
It wasn't too
from, like,
big in that
Eastern Europe.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Really,
it was just,
yeah.
they
At that time.
didn't even have dialogue on some of the stuff.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
so to get on PBS, that was a huge deal, and we were kind of amazed by it. But at the end of the first year when we were canceled, and we kind of went, "Oh, okay, well that's how television works. Let's go on to the next thing."
And at that time,
Yeah.
and at that time, PBS didn't have nearly as much children's shows as it does these days. Because
Sesame Street is probably the only main one.
Yeah.
there was Sesame Street, Mr. Rogers, and
those two
Reading
were-
Rainbow.
Yeah,
Those-
but at
yeah.
the time, that's all you could get, except for Saturday morning cartoons. I mean,
Yeah.
PBS was at that time the pinnacle.
Yeah.
But Barney kind of got grief from PBS during that first year because PBS's children's programming people thought everybody under the age 12 and under was a kid, and that was their market. And they didn't, Barney was for like kids 5 and under.
It was.
Like for a kid in a car seat. And so kids change from, preschool, and then there's early elementary, and then there's later elementary. But at that time, television went, well, it's a kid. How, just write some music for kids. And we really, one of the things they told us to do, the production heads, was think of a kid in a car seat and
Exactly.
do what you do for that child.
Mhm.
And it made a difference. So it was a big deal, but we didn't know that, we didn't think we were Mr. Rogers. We didn't think we were Sesame Street.
Yeah.
We just thought,
Just doing your own way.
yeah, we did our thing. We were, out here, and everybody thought, oh, they're out in the tumbleweeds and the oil wells in Texas. Nobody's going to pay attention to them. And we were fine with that. We were busy doing other stuff. So it's a surprise, but gosh, what a great surprise, huh?
Thanks to Larry Rifkin.
For sure.
Barney wouldn't be on TV without him.
There's a lot of little steps along the way that good things happened that we're grateful for.
Yes.
They almost went out of business. The story that I heard with the first few home videos, because they talked Toys R Us into buying like 90,000 units.
Wow.
Wow.
Toys R Us, and nobody knew about Barney, so nobody bought him. So after like 3 months, Toys R Us called back and said, "Okay, we're sending back the videos."
Yeah.
And they were like, we can't. We pay. That would have been a major disaster. But the company that was the parent company at Lions, and then the people who owned Lions, they were an early childhood development company.
Yeah.
And so they had the email, they had the street addresses of every preschool in America.
Yeah.
And so they did target mailing. This wasn't easy in those days. They did targeted mailing and sent a free video to every preschool that was within a certain radius of a Toys R Us.
Oh, wow.
So they took a free video and they played it. Then the kids said, "I want Barney." And every time they walked into Toys R Us in those days, you walked past the video display.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and they'd see a Barney, and the kids would demand Barney, and so that saved them. They Toys R Us didn't demand to send things back. Barney started getting sold, and it moved on. And there was just little steps like that all along the way that kept it going.
Like the whole story with Larry, his daughter Lenora found, I don't remember back what game it was, but it was at Blockbuster, and then next thing you know, he goes to PBS and we get Barney on TV.
Yeah, I got to meet Larry Rifkin. He was a really nice man.
Yeah.
And it was just one of those things. The kids were, I think it was Thanksgiving, they put the kids in another room with Barney videos, and he walked in and the kids were enraptured by it, and he had to find out what it was. So and it's interesting, they were in Connecticut. Larry was, with Connecticut Public Television.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Dallas Public Television was not interested at all. They sent the video to everybody because you had to have a sponsoring organization within PBS to get on. And Dallas wasn't interested. Not that there were bad people. I mean, they introduced Monty Python to the world, but they didn't get Barney, but Larry did, and Connecticut Public Television did. And we stayed on the air. That was great.
Yeah.
That's
crazy.
Definitely.
Now I must tell you, I'm out here in the forest, and we're having a thunderstorm. And if we lose power, we don't usually lose power or internet, but if it happens, it's just I'm living out in the country.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Matt, how about you ask the next question?
All right.
Julius, even. Julius, how about you ask it?
Okay. I'll ask the next question with pleasure.
So Julius have a chance.
Yeah, Julius, I don't think. Yeah.
Oh, shucks. Do you have any fun memories you remember from all these years with Barney?
Anything specific from memories?
Yeah.
Well, there was an outtake with Ricky.
Ricky Carter.
Yeah, Ricky Carter.
Hey, wow.
And there was
Eric.
And I'll let me just say this. One funny thing is, I have difficulty remembering names. It's called dysnomia, which is just you see somebody and it's my second child and I can't remember their name. So when I was doing Barney, every kid had two names. There was their character name, and then there was their real name. And I had a hard time remembering, either one. But anyway, with Ricky one time, I forget which episode it was. They're in the schoolroom, and they had a gerbil or a hamster.
Like that.
Yes. Going to school. That's right.
And Ricky's holding Zippity.
Yes.
And petting him. And then Zippity just takes a chunk out of his hand. I mean, just bites into his hand, and he goes like this, and tosses the gerbil about 10 feet. I mean, he didn't throw it. He just kind of goes, and he yells, "Dog foot!" And throws it. And of course,
oh my God!
We need to see this.
They're trying to get the hamster because they've got to retake the thing. And
So they've
got to have a real one. So that was really funny.
They were rolling.
They were rolling. I think it's on an outtake reel somewhere.
We need it
somewhere.
That's hilarious.
Oh my gosh,
that's amazing.
That's amazing. Because Bob, I'm not sure if you know this, but the later years, somebody released Barney outtakes from the
it was like season.
Yeah, mostly from season 4 through 6.
Yeah.
Mostly season 6.
So whoever's in charge of that, let's hope you find that outtake. I want to see this.
Well, that's
oh my gosh, that'd be funny.
All those assets. I know there was that at the wrap party. I'm pretty sure that McKee, the editor, put together an outtakes reel. And that may be on that, but I have no idea where those assets went.
So what was what was your favorite Barney song that you wrote? Because I have one. I have a favorite that you wrote.
I have so many.
Well, I was really fortunate to be able to write some of them because I was doing so much arranging. There really wasn't a second that didn't have music. So I was really glad when I got to write. Although Phil Parker wrote a whole bunch of the stuff.
Wrote a lot of the songs.
Yeah.
Oh, Phil.
Yeah.
And Phil was great. It's a little scary. He was, Kathy Parker was one of the producers.
Was like the co-creator.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's always a little dangerous. I'd work with advertising agencies and places where they go, hey, my sister-in-law writes, she's just got these great ideas. And then I have to collaborate with somebody who has no idea what they're doing, but because somebody else is paying the check, I have to work with them. So it's always a little bit scary when somebody says, my husband, my nephew, some relative is going to do this. Man, Phil knocked it out of the park.
Yeah.
We had so much fun working on that. And we're still friends. I mean, we still,
there you go.
And after Barney, I produced some stuff for him. He wrote some more songs,
Nice.
projects. But anyway, my favorite songs, that's like saying, what's your favorite child? They're all my favorite.
My favorite
but I
that you
like
did was S'mores.
I have two favorites.
That's a good song.
I have two favorites. That one, and that's
Hold on. Which one? Which one? I missed that one.
Yes.
Yeah,
S'mores.
that was one of my favorites.
That's what an
I
island
I
is.
love the S'mores song.
I feel like
S'mores song and
Three Bears rap.
the Three Bears rap.
Three Bears rap.
Okay.
Yes.
The Three
I got-
Bears rap the other day.
I have a funny story.
Oh, no.
So I
Oh,
have
wow.
a music channel. Me and Jakey actually covered the Three Bears rap together. It's
Oh,
on
boy.
my music channel, Music and More.
Oh boy.
It was funny.
That's
Oh, wow.
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that
It
was
amazing.
that they said, hey, we need to do the Three Bears story, but we want to
Wanna change
sing
it
it,
up.
but we don't have much time. So I had
Yeah.
to figure out how to get it in. It's like only a minute and a half, 2 minutes long.
Yeah.
How do I get the whole Three Bears into that? And
Just
I
put it in a
love
rap.
the challenges. Yeah, those were fun ones for sure.
So here's the
Yeah.
question. I'm kind of curious about this. I know fans are dying to know. I don't know if you know. Was it true that Bob West voiced all three of them in that song? Because I heard that that Bob West voiced all three of them, aka the Bear
All three of the
Goldilocks.
Bears.
Yeah, all the
Oh.
Bears.
As we talk
Oh, the
about.
Bears.
No, I'm pretty sure that the on-camera kids did it.
Oh wow.
The Bears.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they were, this is, a lot of this runs together. I did hundreds and hundreds of songs,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but I think the on-camera kids were doing, I think I'll do some porridge, we're doing the three different kids. I don't think
Mhm.
Bob was involved in that. At that time, we pretty much, that would have been the on-camera kids. Whenever, here was the rule. If there was one or two on-camera kids singing, it was those kids.
Yeah.
Mm.
If there was three or more, we used my my group of studio singers
Mhm.
simply because they were trained to sing along together, and move along
Mhm.
together. Where the
Right.
on-camera kids were trained to act and dance and stuff like that.
Yeah.
it
And
was
mostly
much
sing
harder
on their
for them to
own.
do all three.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it was on-camera kids doing that.
Wow.
I think.
So this is another question. I've heard about this. I don't know if it's true or not. Was there any canceled Becker game videos? Because I know there's an Instagram page that put out there was a canceled Mother Goose video where he goes like Mother Goose's land or something like that, and then there was another one.
That probably wouldn't be a question for Bob.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not-
He's just a musical. He was just a
Yeah.
musical.
Well, ask the creator.
Yeah, I did.
I might. If it was, I didn't hear about it.
Cheryl
And
or
there-
Dennis would
a lot
probably
of
know more
stuff
about
Cheryl
that.
Dennis, please answer this. I'm dying to know.
I'll just, there's a
Yeah.
lot of stuff. People think that because I was writing all this music that I was there doing it. No, I was somewhere else.
No.
Yeah, you
I
wrote
was
somewhere else.
miles away, and
Do you ever
for a
go to
long
the set
time.
though?
Pardon me?
Sometimes? Did you go to the set a lot?
Oh yeah. There was at least twice. I was at the set usually at least twice a week. We'd have production meetings. I'd always attend the read through, and we'd have script meetings, and I would bring in demos of what the song was going to be like, and so that people could raise objections. Well, that's too fast to dance to, and that kind of stuff. And I'd take notes. But yeah, I was on the set usually at least twice a week. But I was during the series, during all 3 seasons, I was working on 6 shows at the same time.
Wow.
All the way through the season. I mean, I was either reading a new script, I was marking up the script, making demos, I was attending meetings where we changed the script and I had to then revise things. I had to record the characters. I had to record the on-camera kids. I had to record my studio kids. I had to turn in what was called playback tapes, which was what they would sing to and lip sync to, and they would use those. And then I would have to get it all mixed and then turn that into the post-production people on the songs. And then I'd get a video where I would write all the background music, everything between the songs, which was wall to wall. And so I was working on 6 shows all at the same time, all week long.
Oh, wow.
I had some
crazy,
some great help though.
Busy schedule for show.
Well, you have to get into this routine. Yeah, and I had an assistant music director, Larry Heron. I had, and he was doing arrangements. He arranged a lot of Phil's songs, and him and Phil would get together. And then I had another guy down in Houston named Fletch Wiley, who I'd send him stuff, and he'd send me MIDI files that I could open up and then doctor his arrangements. And I had an engineer who was doing a lot of the pre-mixes and then mixing songs. And, I had this one person who all she did was take care of kids when they came into the studio. I just had a lot of people who were helping me, but it was a lot of work. Looking back on it, I was doing 20-hour days, 6 days a week, and I was living on Advil, M&Ms, and coffee. Yeah, it was. I don't want to do that again, man. That was a lot of work.
Would you? Okay, I was going to say that was. Never mind. I was going to say if it came back, because Barney, there's always rumors about him coming back. Would you return for it? But that was the question.
I don't know if he wants to go to the Advil, M&Ms, and coffee again.
Now, the way the production methods that we used then, now we look back and go, how did we get anything done?
How do we write this song or something?
We were doing audio video sync. We were doing technology stuff that was ahead of what they were doing in LA and New York, simply because nobody was telling us we couldn't do it. I mean, the technology that I had wired up in my studio was pretty space age. Well, now I had that studio insured for like $500,000 or something, all the gear that was in it. But now I can do that on a Mac laptop, and it comes with the software, included. So I think it would be done. It would definitely be done differently now, just production wise, the steps, but musically, there's some guiding principles that I would keep the same. So if they called me up, and particularly if they said, we're going to do this for kids, and we, I'd definitely talk to them. I mean, I'm still working.
Anyway, Chris, what's the next question?
So, question I have is, so since you mentioned that you still talk to Phil, is there anyone from any friends that you still keep in touch with?
Oh yeah, Steve White.
Steve, wonderful writer.
He's just a wonderful human being. I mean, we the time we spent in New York City was just amazing, because we were it was a lot of work, and he was killing himself on the script, and we were trying to put on a show. So we were together, like we got up in the morning and met at the elevator in the hotel and went to breakfast and then worked all day. And being around Steve is such a funny man.
Yeah.
That
Yes.
our sides hurt from laughing, because just in normal conversation, he could be so funny. So over the years, since Barney, we've worked on several projects.
Nice.
He was my co-writer on the stuff that we demoed for Muppets in Space. We did a thing for New World Entertainment called the Partytown Twins, and he's just one of my great lyrical go-tos and idea people. As a matter of fact, he wrote the dialogue for the symphony concert that was being performed all over this year, and so we I keep up with Steve. I'm still friends with nearly everybody that I worked with on the show.
Nice. That's awesome.
There's the production people, David Booth, and the people who worked in audio. Of course, I was very, very close to them. A lot of the video people, McKee Smith, who was the editor. There's a couple other editors, and of course the names kind of flitting out of my brain. We're still friends. But Mark Bernthal, hang with Mark every chance I can. He's just this brilliant, gentle,
we have to get
wonderful human. But I think I've done the most with Steve, just because he's brilliant, and I laugh so hard.
Yeah. He is. We're definitely having him on in the future.
And I know just recently, because I think he mentioned it on his Facebook, he lost his wife.
Yeah, that's right.
It's been a tough time. Yeah,
very tough time indeed.
I can imagine. Yeah.
Matt, ask the question that Jakey did not write down that we started asking the Barney people.
You had one job, Jakey.
Jakey, you're not writing the questions.
It's why the rest of us write the questions.
Anyway,
no, you had mentioned like the going back and recording the studio kids and the kids on the show. What was the biggest challenge out of all that for you, writing for songs and not so for Barney?
That's a great question. What was the biggest challenge? I think the biggest challenge was just do the next thing.
Wow.
It was like on Raiders of the Lost Ark, when Indiana Jones, it starts out and he's looking behind him, that huge rock is rolling towards him, and he's
very iconic scene.
That's kind of how it felt. It felt like if we had a misstep in music, it tripped Penny and choreography. It messed up the directing and staging, how they were going to do it. There was just this domino thing. We never did. We always hit our marks, and I'm grateful for that. But the biggest challenge was just doing the next thing. And along the way, it would be like, okay, we need a campfire song about s'mores.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll have it for you tomorrow.
There you go.
And literally, we would, I would write songs in a morning or an afternoon, and I would do morning, afternoon. And on some of the shows, it was like that. I would do arrangements of songs, public domain stuff. I would map out, I already the lyrics and melody on those, but I had to figure out if it was going to be fast, slow, medium. If it was for this character or that character, I had to think about those things. I do 3, 4, 5 songs in a day.
Wow.
Wow.
And it was just because that's what had to be done. I didn't think about it being hard or easy. The hardest thing was just getting it to the people on time. And, before we had file transfers, we were I'd drop off a cassette master at a duplicating place on my way home through a mail slot, and somebody would come in at 6 a.m. and make duplication masters and hand that to FedEx or to a delivery service, and those kinds of things. And we just had to, keep that cadence going. But we never thought about, what was hard. We just thought about, what do I have to do next?
Yeah.
Also, I'm surprised nobody mentioned the Mail song, one of favorite songs, because that's another.
Oh, the Mail song.
Oh, yeah.
That's another. That's one of my.
That song.
That was a good one.
Yeah, they brought it back after you left, which is cool.
Really?
Which is
Yeah,
cool,
it did like episodes.
Yeah, that's awesome.
There's just so many songs, and the way there's some of the songs are covered by one kind of a contract. Some of them get paid different ways.
Wow.
I'm not living the life of Riley on royalties or anything like that.
Yeah,
but there are some ways that I get an indication that it's being used somewhere, and I'll get 15 pages of printouts for fractions of a cent per page, and then so I don't look through all of them.
And we're gonna feel stupid for not mentioning this one. That's What an Island Is.
we did.
Oh, we mentioned that a little bit. Yeah, that's one of my.
That was a good one. And that was
one of my favorites.
Steve White wrote most of that. Now I co-wrote with him. There was a couple of things that we had to change to get it into range and make it easy to sing and stuff like that. But that was, I'm pretty sure that was mostly Steve. Steve was a talented musician. He played in a rock band in high school and stuff.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
That's awesome.
So he was, that's why his lyrics were always so good, because he already had, he understood how things went and went together. Here's a fun story about Steve once. I got a phone message from my agent in LA once that they needed a song, and it turned out they were soliciting people to write music for this new show called King of the Hill.
Oh, wow.
So I got my agent left a message on my phone, and she said, but we need it here tomorrow, which really wasn't that big a deal, because FedEx would get it there faster than people could drive around LA. It was so I called Steve, and he said, man, I've only got 45 minutes. I got to go pick up my brother at the airport. I said, well, I've already kind of mapped out some stuff, because they gave me some instructions about how they wanted it to sound, which is not how the TV show ended up at all, but that's not typical. Right. I mean, that's the usual. So I recorded something onto his message machine, a little music thing. And in 30 minutes, he sent me back the lyrics, which he needed to do, because I'd already called the singer before I wrote the thing and said, can you be here at 10:30 in the morning? I'm going to have a track for you to sing on. And I hadn't written a note, and we didn't have any lyrics. But Steve, before he went out to the airport to pick up his brother, he had the lyrics, and they were great.
Wow.
Yes.
And that's just really good writers are like that. But Steve,
he's amazing.
And his mind works differently than other humans in a wonderful way.
And I think I can say this, like, out of all of the kids shows out there, I think Barney truly had like some of the best writers and songwriters. Because I mean,
yes.
Yeah.
Well, it was very special. And I can't speak for all time, but it's they always cared about kids. Yeah. And I didn't always get the sense in some other shows that they were, it seemed like they were trying to impress other grown-ups more than they were trying to impress kids. And I think that's why the Barney music worked so well, and why people, identified with it was written for them and not for some executive, to make him happy.
Yes.
Yeah. Hey,
Yes.
Jake, ask my next question. It's been a
All
minute
right.
since we
Well,
last spoke.
for you being music director for Barney franchise for 10 years, what does that like feeling on you that just being part of the Barney franchise?
I feel really fortunate because so much in the music business is so much has to come together for something to happen right. Let me give you an example. Like I worked in records, I've worked in television, I've dabbled in movies, I've worked in games and stuff like that. And really the big question is, how does anything get made? Because there are so many moving parts and so many things that have to fall into place at the right time. If I was pitching a recording artist to a record label, which I only did 2 or 3 times because it's so hard. You have to be at the right record label with the right artist who has the right sound that the record company thinks they can sell, and that they don't have too many artists at the time, and that they're making enough money to sell a new artist, and they have room in their schedule to release it, and they don't have anybody else like that artist, but they don't have anybody else that's really too much different. All these pieces have to fall in place. Well, in television, that's magnified. I mean, we didn't have 500 cable channels, satellite channels. We just had, 3 networks and PBS, and that was it. And it just had to land at Larry Rifkin's, blockbuster on Thanksgiving, and it had to resonate with all the TV stations and all that stuff. So I just look back at it and I kind of look and wonder. It's like, how did that come together? It was really a great thing that it did.
I bet.
Well, it's just in this business, it's a crazy business, and I I've done Christian stuff. Just to me, I look back and I can see God's kind of fingerprints on it, getting us through, and I'm just really grateful. There's a lot of stuff that I've done that I thought was really going to go well. Doing the stuff for the Muppets and some other things, like I called in a couple of times, but it never worked. And I'm grateful for that too. Good things happen both ways. If I'd gotten tied up in that, it could have been a terrible mess. Disney took over the Muppets during, as they were developing Muppets from Space. And that, could have been a bad thing. So I'm grateful looking back and thinking, wow, I had 10 years. That in Hollywood, that's forever. Most TV shows don't last that long. Got a couple of friends who've written for, TV shows for a long time. 2.5 Men, a buddy of mine writes the music for that. And, that's been on a long time. But most things, 10 years, longer than that, that's forever. They go through 3 music directors in that period of time.
Yes.
Yeah. So we talked about this. We talked a little bit about this earlier. Do you have? Is there any memorabilia from Barney that you still have that you want to show?
Like some VHS.
Oh gosh, no, I would like to, but it's like I said, it's in boxes.
Yeah.
It's still, I have
time.
stuff
I could tell.
in duct tape.
Or here's a better question: what type of things do you have?
That's a better question.
I've got like the crew jacket and some of the shirts and hats.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But what I have the most of is I have every script, and they're my scripts. In other words, I would go through every script and mark and say, I need this kind of music here, this kind of, there'd be production meetings. And so they have all my notes. It also has the demo that we sent out for everybody to learn their songs. Every song, every I would have my assistant music director, Larry Heron, would sing the song, and we'd have the basic arrangement, and we'd put it out on a cassette and give that out to the on-camera people and my kids chorus so that they could learn the song, so that when they came to the studio, they were prepared. And I've got the master cassette to all those for every show and every home video that I have. That's a big pile of boxes.
I bet.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
A lot of episodes. A lot of
videos.
Well, in the first season, there was one episode. I forget which one it was. We did The Land of Make Believe or something like that. Whenever they...
the Queen of Make Believe, I believe.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Whenever we change a script, if there's a script change, we get a different colored page, so we know that it's an updated page. And there would be, I think we had 14 different colors, something like that, so that we'd know, and that they would go through that many changes in the script, and we would replace page and stuff. Well, there was the last update page color was, we called it blood red, because if we were making 14 changes on the script, it was really bleeding, and it made it to blood red, and then started over again. We were learning. We were learning how to make a TV show, and on that one, there was a miscalculation on time, and they finished it, and they went, "We're like 2 minutes short." Well, let's sing that song again. And so I think we did the song twice. It's really interesting the changes that these things went through, but everybody works so hard.
I bet.
It's so hard to make them right. So I've got all those, like I said, hat jackets, some posters. I have a Barney. At one time we were talking to, I want to make sure I'm not taking you too long. We were talking to Texas Instruments about a talking Barney.
Oh, wow.
And so they gave me
prototype of it.
I was supposed to figure out about how to make some kind of a music file that would work on it. So they gave me another talking Barney that I performed surgery on and ripped the guts out electronically, and then hooked up some other wires to it so I could hear the speaker, what this sounded like through that speaker. And so I've got that, emergency room Barney still pieces somewhere. And I have one big Barney plush that whenever, Professor Tinkerpud or people in the studio, I had them sign it.
Oh, wow.
Oh, nice.
Nice. That's awesome.
Nice. So is there any advice you'd like to give to people who want to get into or want to become music directors or
whatever?
Yeah. The main thing is, do what it is that you want to do. If you want to be a songwriter, then start writing songs and get around other people who are doing the things that you want to do. If you want to write songs, and get around other songwriters. If you want to work in television, then get around other people who want to work in television. And you're going to start off, working with people who haven't done that much, but everybody progresses. And so stay friends with those people, be around the people that are doing what you want to do, and persevere. I don't think I'm that great a writer, but I always showed up and I persevered.
You do what you gotta do. Where your ideas prefer,
Yeah.
So, do you have any words for your words to say to your fans of your work on Barney or
whatever? Now,
it's strange first of all to think about that I have fans, because everything that I did wasn't other than Radio City was in isolation.
Yeah, you did that
in a room with no windows. And I didn't interact with people. And so I really haven't met that many fans. I'm very, very grateful to know that I've done something that made some people's lives better. That's when I hear about that, it touches me deeply.
Yes.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Also, I want to point this out that was live in New York City that he did.
Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes, live in New York
That's a
City.
good video.
Wonderful video.
Yes.
There were so many experiences in that could fill a book.
Lots of people there.
That's another episode if you want to come back and talk about.
Yeah.
Well, that's a whole
for
nother.
me,
Would you come back?
it was. I would. For me,
Okay.
it was longer than just
Nice.
that because immediately immediately preceding that
Yeah.
was the Grammys.
Oh yeah.
Mm,
Oh,
I was
yeah.
nominated for a
Yes.
Grammy that
Yes.
year, and
Wow.
it was at Radio City Music Hall. And
Oh,
so
wow.
I went straight
Wow.
from one to the next, and so it was an extraordinary experience.
And Barney sold out, didn't it?
Yes.
12 shows.
Yes. So.
Yeah, they
12 shows.
sold out 12 shows, and the story was this was before the internet. This was with dialing up.
Barney's
They
so
sold out
huge.
they sold out 12 shows in about 45 minutes, just
Wow.
using the
Oh
phone.
my
The
god.
only act that
Unbelievable.
sold out-
That's way
that
shorter
sold
than I
out
thought.
that many shows faster than Barney was U2,
Oh wow.
and
Oh yeah.
and it was just by fractions.
God.
Wow.
That's
incredible.
phenomenal. That's
And
it was-
how popular
crazy.
Barney was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
And that
Good
show was
show right
never
there, to my
rehearsed
point.
anyway. That which is crazy because they never rehearsed that show and then they went and did it. Boom.
Well,
I bet like everyone's initial reaction.
Let me put it this way:
crazy.
we tried to rehearse it.
yeah, they never
we
got
just
to a
never made it
rehearsal.
through a complete.
I heard about that. Yeah.
It was. There was some intrigue.
Ah,
Yeah.
ah.
I bet everyone's like initial reactions when they first found out that Barney sold out as many shows as it did during that tour was like, oh my god, like we
did it.
We did it. Yeah.
And in that short of time too.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
This was
Exactly.
94. This was 94. This wasn't
Yeah.
easy.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Almost 3 years ago now.
Yeah, and I
It's
believe there
crazy.
was
Yeah.
a thing saying at Radio City saying that he actually did sell.
yeah, I
out.
think there is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yes. I'm
That's awesome.
glad about
Oh
that.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all are. So how can if anyone wants to contact you, how can people find you on social media?
Best ways is probably through my my professional Facebook page, Bob
Yeah.
Singleton, composer, producer, or something. I forget what it's called, but it's that one. Because I'm also on Instagram as Bob Singleton composer or something like that. But my interface is here, and it's just me. I don't have a social crew or anything like that. Connect easier to
Right.
Facebook, and I can do Facebook messaging and stuff like that. And I respond to that.
Awesome.
Awesome.
My personal page is, it's just my family and friends and stuff. So,
Right, yeah.
so it takes me a while to get through that. But if you contact me through my composer page on Facebook, then I usually get back pretty quickly. I enjoy doing it.
Nice.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Chris, how about you end off with the question?
And your social media is going to be in the description down below, so people.
Yeah, and I'll
can
follow you after.
Mm-hmm.
I've asked a couple questions. How about someone else give us the last question? How about,
Matt, how about you do it, Julius?
yeah,
Julius, how about you do it?
Yeah.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that'd be cool.
If he's up for it. Yeah, all right.
Gosh,
Dude.
that
Yeah,
that
Julius,
hurt earlier.
I know,
I was-
Julius, hold on. Before you do it, I know Matt's asked it, but Julius, you have never asked it.
I have not
So
yet.
come on.
Really?
This podcast is Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show. When it comes to nostalgia, how do you define it? How do you
think
define nostalgia? What do you think of?
Nostalgia is things that I remember that warm my heart.
Yeah.
And that
I
can
agree.
Indeed.
be anything from this morning to the distant past, but it's an experience that I recall that warms me.
I love that.
That's
awesome.
awesome. That is
Good
the best
words from
answer
you,
anybody's
Bob.
ever given. Matt,
Yes.
yours is the second
So-
one.
One of the best.
So before
Mine second best.
Okay.
Really?
I'm kidding.
no,
Wow,
so,
wow, Wyatt.
All right. Yours is first best. Thank you so
Yay.
much for coming
Yes,
on. It's
thank
been
you
an
so
absolute
much.
blast here in store.
This was
Thank
great.
you guys.
I
Had
know.
a great time.
And we'll definitely have you back on with Steven.
Yes.
Oh, that'd be
Yes.
great.
Yep.
Yeah,
Because there's so much stuff-
of course. Once he's had some time.
Yeah.
he
Well,
needs
after
to
a while.
but
After a while.
Exactly.
he is a force of nature. I don't think that that anybody could appear with him and appear to be his equal. He is probably he's one of the smartest guys I've ever met.
And
There's
you're
so
right.
much
He
to
is,
talk about with him.
and he is and like you said earlier, he is a very funny guy. I saw his episode of Purple Tales
Yeah.
with
Oh yeah.
with
Yeah.
Carrie, and oh my gosh,
Yeah, you were on Purple
he
Road
cracked
also.
up a couple of jokes, and it was love him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
Anyway, and from all of us here at Jake's Happy Shower Show, thank you so much for coming on. It's been a blast.
Yes, and
Yes.
And you are worth it.
Yes, and thanks to Bob Singleton for coming on. It has been an absolute
you so
blast.
much,
We
Bob.
always love getting to talk to the Barney.
We do.
Yes.
It's whoever we get to talk to. We get to
Barney
hear
people is
stories we never
always
thought we'd
amazing.
hear.
So
Yes.
So until next time, everyone,
Yep.
for all of our viewers and listeners, stay nostalgic, and we will see you all next time. Bye,
You're
everyone.
worth it.
Bye bye.
you're worth it, and stay nostalgic. See ya. Bye bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
You're worth it.
See you next time on another episode of Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show. Be sure to follow us on social media and stream us wherever you find your favorite podcasts. Bye bye.